Couple of years down the road, uh, you are you're getting off stage. You just performed a gig.
Okay.
It's a thing where you were opening up for a band.
Okay. What band?
So, so do you remember how like a few years ago they had that whole like hologram thing of like people performing
Tupac
live?
and
So
yeah.
it's that's kind of made a comeback, that concept, except with like androids. So we're opening up for a bunch of androids who are playing the music of 311. And they all looked just like the the band members too.
That means nothing to me. I couldn't pick them out of the fucking lineup. I couldn't.
Yeah, but the attention to detail on this is very good. It's actually made by the company that started this whole, musical android craze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went 311 pretty early on.
Hmm. Yeah, it's this company called Liquid Illusions.
Oh man.
And Liquid Illusions, they are a, robotics company. And their first efforts were, you know, looking back on them, they were very kind of not good, crude. Uh, but you can see the influence that they had on later, rock and roll androids. So they almost looked like the faces were off and shit like that, and it was almost like an animatronic band. You know what I mean? That's essentially what it was
Yeah,
based
yeah.
on. But people could tell that, like, oh, give this guy a few more years, and they're gonna knock people's socks off.
Will the technology catch up to the vision?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay.
The company is founded by uh, this entrepreneur, this like technological entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name is Antonio Stone,
Okay.
and he grew up reading sci-fi, especially the works of what's that fucking guy's name? Asimov or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he got really into the idea of like robotics. And
Foundations.
yeah, so he was like a sci-fi nerd who grew up and became very wealthy through his inventions and his pioneering actions in the robot industry. And as far as like the musical robot, as far as that whole scene goes, he is like, viewed as like the most important figure in its history, Love him or hate him, there are some people who find, his whole media presence to be a little like purposely flashy, like he's always like seen in the tabloids and stuff, and you know, he's seen as like a bad boy. That's like his whole image.
Yeah, yeah.
So say what you want about how the way he lives his life, he is, where you measure the modern history of robotics. There's pre, liquid illusion and post. Love it or hate it, them's the facts, Jack.
Stone Age.
And so this company made these 311 androids, and you were doing a set to open for them,
Yeah.
and it went pretty well. It paid well too, which is
Good.
good. Yeah, you finish your set. You're like, all right, guys, well, let's bring on your main act. Sound like a million people for 311 asterisks.
Oh, that's how they get away with it.
Yeah.
They just put an asterisk at the end of every single band that they're ripping off.
Yeah. And so you walk off stage, the androids all like, walk on. and they pick up their instruments and start playing, and they're like, "Hey, how's everybody doing?" And you like walk away, you know.
Yeah.
They go right into the in what a lot of people see as a very ballsy move. They start off with the song Down, kind of like their big first hit, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
That's how they start the concert. And so people are like, "Ooh, this is gonna be something."
Man, that's a it's a bold choice.
Yeah.
Only because like I don't think 311 has enough hits to bolster the set list that or they give up one of their big hitters right away.
No, you'd be surprised.
I
311
would be.
has they have a very the thing about 311 is that they have a very loyal fan base. So loyal that they actually will go out and support the androids too. And so there's definitely some fan favorites, some songs that aren't as well known, you
Deep
know.
cuts.
Yeah, some 311 deep cuts for sure. But I mean, you don't stick around to watch or anything, you know. You kind of just get going.
Yeah, I got no I don't want to be there.
So you go home and you they paid you in cash. They paid you $1,000 in
One
the
large.
crispest $100 bills that you've ever seen in your fucking life.
Great.
As you put them in your pocket, or not in your pocket, in your wallet, you almost think to yourself like, it's almost like a shame to spend these.
Because they're so crisp.
They are so crisp. Maybe it's just, you know, the winter air, or maybe, there's just something about it. But something about those crisp $100 bills like does something to you. You know what I mean? Where like you're almost like it's almost like you're taken away to like a strange land.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So
How
you
does the
have
texture
like
of 10 bills
it's more just the idea of like the amount of money that you're getting because
affect
yeah, $1,000 at this point in your life, $1,000 is like pretty much what you needed to get through the month.
I mean, I'm not denying that like $1,000 is a lot of money, but
Yeah,
also
but
like
like
it's
you
like not an amount of money that is like worth ruminating over having.
well, at this point in time, it is, brother, because you have made quite a number of financial mistakes, low
God damn
these
it.
several years down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big thing, your first big mistake was you invested money into this thing that the people behind it swore would be the newest like culinary, standard across America. This thing, it's you guys called it expanding ketchup. And what it is instead of like a large bottle filled with ketchup, it's a very small little package, smaller than even a standard fast food ketchup packet. Okay. And the way it works is you open it and the ketchup just, you know what I mean? It's almost like the snakes jumping out of
Of the
the
can.
box, Yeah, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And so um that actually never even got out on the market because you guys went bankrupt doing during the testing because it worked well, but it worked like too well, where people would like in the lab they're not really sure what happened because this didn't happen with the other ones, but one of the really small little packets, one of the guys, the volunteers, he opened it up and the ketchup expanded, but it's almost like it wouldn't stop. So it got like there was a lot of ketchup that was in the room that day, enough to like fucking drown the guy.
What? A man drowned in ketchup?
Yeah, expanding ketchup. So luckily he signed a waiver. So you guys were like, that was close.
What the fuck is going on? Why is there ketchup just spawning out of this fucking tiny packet?
Um, you guys don't really know. The U.S. government actually comes and like confiscates, all the ketchup there and stuff. So you feel like you stumbled on something and you're like, I don't like in a one in a million shot, and you're like, I am not even gonna think about that.
What the fuck is going on with my life? And a
You
thousand dollars
also,
just fixes everything.
yeah, because again, you put a lot of money into that. You put some money into this thing. Um, you made this thing. It's called the cat colony. And what it is it's like a gigantic thing that you can put inside somebody's house where it's almost like how they have those like ant farms or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like that, but for cats. It's like a series of tubes that the cats can like, run around in and play and stuff like that. And it kind of gives you like this weird, trippy atmosphere. And they have their cats are perfectly, comfortable inside the tubes as they make their way through it. Um, but that kind of busted out too because the initially like the you guys wanted to save a little bit of money, so you got like a cheaper type of plastic, excuse me, for the tubes. And in the right light they actually were like translucent and you couldn't like see them, so people would like bump their heads into them and stuff like that and hurt really bad. And so the cat colony thing really did not work out. So you are not doing the best financially, my man.
Sucks.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks.
Yeah, you're not in a very good place financially. You also you invested in this thing. So you kind of thought that this was going to be the new craze down down the road. You just thought like, I'm going to finally get in front of one of these, like this is going to be like the new Ozempic or something, the thing that like is just huge. And you're like, I am going to invest in this thing. And the concept that you became obsessed with is the idea of board games, like a board like that, but there's no instructions. And so there's pieces and there's
It's
all sorts of
awful.
other stuff. And you kind of have to figure out the rules like as you go. And you kind of thought, this is for it's like the thinking man's board game.
What a
And
fucking joke. What a stupid
it,
idea.
yeah, it didn't do
Hey,
well, dude.
make up your own board game. We're gonna give you just generic pieces and nothing else.
This
No
is the one
structure.
that
No.
this is the one that really, you know, this one
How
not
meta.
only did it hurt hurt you financially, but hurt you emotionally because you really believed in this. The board game that you
Fucking
put
way.
out, the
No
board
way.
game is called it's called Aaron's Cove. And
What?
yeah, it's like a tropical themed thing where it's I guess, the critics, the people who review it are like, I guess this is like a Gilligan's Island type of deal, but like again, there's no instructions. We don't really know how to play this game. And so there is a very, very small but very loud group of board game enthusiasts who love it though, who are totally on board with something like this. But it's not enough for you to like, make any money.
Great. Another failed venture.
Yeah. Like if you go on like the biggest message board for the board game community, it's called the Board Bros. And Board Bros uh is basically, it's exactly what I said. It's a message board that if you're very into board games, you get on this message board and people will post their interpretations of the game and be like, okay, I think we figured it out. And then there's people who argue with them and go, no, you're doing it wrong. Here's what it actually is. And so it definitely sparks a lot of debate, but it just so critically, there is a group of people who are very into this.
There
However,
is this.
they're into this. However, most people are not. And so you just like the whole your drive home, you keep
So,
like
so many things I'm involved in that it's like it makes perfect sense. there's a very small group of people who like what I do. The majority of the people are like, "Ah, this isn't for me." But the people who get it. And it's not enough for me to make a living.
Yeah, hey man, look who you're talking to. So basically, so you're like the whole drive home, you keep like putting your hand on your like pocket that has the wallet in it just to kind of like make sure it's still in there. You know what I mean? Because you really thought like, oh fuck, I'm not going to be able to, cover rent, But you have to be honest with you, Aaron, this is your first win in a while because the set went really well. It was a great, you had a lot of fun, and you got paid right away in cash.
That's great.
Yeah. And so you know what? This is a fucking win.
Great. And I can make sure my bills are paid and I'm good to go.
Your bills are paid, and you had like a little bit. You're actually like few $100 ahead. So you stop at a grocery store and you get you do a thing because it's a full moon. And so your tradition when there's a full moon is you go to a store and you get three different types of frozen pizzas.
I'm a
You
pizza werewolf.
yeah, you cook them all at the same time. And you kind
Um,
of like, yeah. And you like, because they're like full moons in and of themselves, and you chop them up and you like put them as three mixed up pizzas, frozen pizzas. So it's all like multi different flavors all throughout. And you're like, fuck yes. So you're
why do I
like,
do that?
by the full moon, it's just a
Yeah.
thing that,
Oh,
you've just been doing lately. It's just a thing that,
since now I have three frozen pizzas that I've cooked apparently, and now I have to like eat them before they go bad.
yeah, well, they keep well for a few days at least.
No, they don't, Pat. Like, what are you? You don't. Nobody's ever said frozen pizza is a dish that is kept and reheated well.
So you go home
Oh,
and you're thinking to yourself, like, you can't wait to just like,
can I do this every month of the full moon? I make
yeah,
three pizzas, just a
mhm,
mishmash of three different pizzas.
yeah.
Jesus Christ. This is
And
sad.
and so and you actually like you write you have like a blog of you
Yeah.
reviewing frozen pizzas.
Yeah.
It's called And Then We Ate Pizza. And it's you just reviewing the different, frozen zuz. So you go home ready to do your full moon special. You get it all cooked up, sliced up and ready. And every time you do this, you've gotten so good at it that every single time you do it, even though they're all different pizzas, they all form perfect circles when they're all like chopped up and combined.
I just have a very repeatable and accurate cut.
Yeah. And for a moment, when you gaze down at those perfect circles of pizza, you've kind of, it's almost like you can comprehend infinity and you kind of like snap out of it and you're like, oh, whatever. And from behind you, you hear like a whoop sound and
What
you're
the
like,
fuck?
and you go, what? And you turn around and standing there is this like floating in front of you is this like open portal, basically. And standing next to it is a guy who looks just like you, except he is like fucking jacked, dude.
What the fuck?
And he is he's dressed like a sexy knight, like an Arthurian knight almost. And he has like the helm up and stuff. But you can
Yeah.
see his how like, jacked his chest is. And he looks at you and he goes, Aaron Prime, come with me. And he pulls you through the portal. And when he pulls you through, for a second, it's like you pass out and you come to and you are in an all white space.
This sucks.
And you're like, what the hell's going on? It's kind of like if you remember in The Matrix, the scene where they get all their guns and stuff. They're just in like that
Yeah,
white
yeah,
open space, but they can walk around. So it's kind of like that. And standing in front of you is this guy. He is 9 feet tall. He is
yeah.
dressed like a clown, and he is holding a balloon. The balloon is looks just like your face, and
Sure.
the mouth is moving, like it's clearly screaming, even though it's not making a sound. And it screams at you as like small, pearls of blood just kind of like, you know, pour out of both eyes, almost like he's sobbing. But not a noise comes from him, but there is like a steady, rain of blood. And
Of blood.
the the
Yeah.
figure, the guy dressed like a clown looks at you and he goes, "Hello, Aaron. My name is Dreamy
Dreamy
Dan,
Dan.
ruler of the dreamscape. And welcome to the Multiverse Saga Part 2, the Sampson situation." The balloon pops and you kind of go like, whoa, and like you're kind of like back in reality. Except now it's like you're in a like fantasy world. Like when you think of like the Lord of the Rings, you
Like
know?
Tolkien-esque.
Yeah, very Tolkien-esque. And standing in front of you is you. It's that universe's version of you. He says,
So is it, it's like a hobbit? Is it like a human? What am I?
so it's you except you're like an Arthurian knight. And so, but like a
Oh,
sexy
it's a
one.
the jacked one, yeah. Yeah.
The
Form-fitting
kind
armor.
where if you were gonna go as a sexy Arthurian knight, this is the outfit that you would wear, basically. It leaves, little to the imagination, but hey, enough that you do wonder, you know?
I'm not gonna wonder.
So
What does it mean?
he goes, Aaron Prime. He goes, hello. You can call me, I am the Aaron Brooks of the Rosy Realm. He's like,
Of the rosy realm.
yeah, in the multiverse. And he goes, Aaron Prime, you will know me as, or you can call me just so, to, stop confusion and stuff. You can call me Aaron One. And he kind of like clicks his heels and like his back, it's like straight. And he's like, and I am here to serve you. He goes on to,
I'm
ex-
in your place. What do you mean you're here to serve me? What do you I am in your realm.
so he goes on to explain that, the Rosy Realm is like, this world that he lives in. And, there is, been kind of a problem lately. Uh,
Why
his
am I
people,
here?
what he's explaining, he's like, all
You
right.
kidnapped me from my own world and are telling me you're there to serve me? I what the fuck is going on?
So he explains that, so you're like Aaron Prime of the Aaron Brooks
Yeah.
multiverse. And so everybody is kind of spiritually subordinate to you. And some of them, I guess this guy takes it as, you're like kind of his commander or whatever. But he explains that, he pulled you through because he needs help. There's a prophecy that, a dangerous warlike figure will come to the Rosy Realm and destroy it and turn it into like a realm of fire and hate. However, they're like, the prophecy says that if Aaron Brooks Prime comes to help, he will be defeated, and the Rosy Realm will be saved. That part he shouts really, really loud.
Bad guy will be defeated.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, so there's this warlike guy that's this marauder. Uh we call him Sampson. And we think that he's, coming to, burn the Rosy Realm to cinder and ash. His name is Samson because it's the same deal as like in the Bible, where like the longer his hair grows, like the more like strong he becomes, but also like his army becomes too. And his hair right now is just above his butt crack. And he's like, I don't want to know how powerful he's going to become. Like once that hair like is long enough to finally touch his crack, by that point he's probably going to be unstoppable.
Why? Why does it have to go to his fucking butt crack? Why
That's
does his
just
hair
the
have to go touch his ass crack?
because then that shows that he's become powerful enough to, ascend to his, next form. And then the Rosy Realm is done for. He screams that part too.
Does the hair have to go into the crack? Or does it have
No,
to be
no,
like
no.
just as long as the crack until it could in theory meet the crack?
He kind of like gives you a weird look and he's like, just like the same length. Kind of just like looks at you. He goes, anyway, he goes, Aaron, you have to help us against the armies
What do
of
you
Samson.
what do you want me to do?
He's like, well, Aaron, to be honest with you, the prophecies were a little less, clear about that. That or in our book of prophecies, we're pretty sure that somebody spilled a chocolate milkshake on like the parchment or whatever. So it's kind of hard to read.
All right, that tracks. I
He's
mean,
like,
I'll go, but I'm not doing anything. I'm not fighting anyone. I'm not going to be a hero. I will attend. But like I've met several of the people from these other realms and they're like all jacked dudes who are in like military service. If they're going to be differential to me, I will say I will attend, but you guys have to fight this thing. I have no martial skill. I can't attack. I can't defend. I'm not good with any weaponry at all. I
he
will
goes,
run at the first sign of you know, conflict.
he goes, but as Aaron Prime, you are destined to lead us.
Yeah, I can lead from the back.
He's
I can
like,
lead from a
definitely.
fucking remote location.
And then like from behind him walks up this guy. He's dressed the way that you would imagine like a Gandalf to be dressed. You know what I mean? Just a classic storybook
Classic wizard.
wizard.
Yeah.
He says, "Hello, Aaron. My name is Stardust the Space Wizard." And he goes, "Thank you for helping us." And he like touches your neck and you kind of like it's almost like there's like a blip. It's like when you're watching a DVD
What the
and
fuck?
there's like a scratch on it and it goes like to like a scene in the future.
Yeah, where did he put me?
You're on the front lines of like
I'm
the
not
final
going there.
battle.
No,
You're like you're decked out and like you have like really badass looking armor and you have like a giant bulge like over here,
over my
like an
hub.
armored bulge. So like people think it looks pretty fucking cool, dude.
I mean, that part
And
probably does look pretty cool. Yeah, I'll give you that.
yeah, you're holding a pair of like lightsaber nunchucks, except like the ends of the other sides are like the ends of all like the handles are like blades.
Sounds
And
very dangerous.
next to you are a curious mix of like peasants and knights. The type of like medieval knights or medieval knights and peasants that you picture when you think of those times. And they have like axes and swords and you kind of like turn around and like on like the mountain behind you there's like archers and stuff like that and
I would just say, take me back to where I'm from and let's get a bunch of guns. why are these people using like blunt weaponry when like I'm from a time and place that has easy access to guns?
And then so you say that, and then Aaron one next to you, he kind of goes like, "Oh, I bet that's what they wanted you to do."
Are
Okay.
you fucking kidding me?
And then the valley that you're in, it's like suddenly like overrun. You kind of
Yeah,
see like coming towards you a bunch of like tanks and people with like bazookas and missile launchers and stuff
great.
on
I
a
run
like
away.
kind of like a green goblin glider type thing. Leading from the front is the Sampson guy, and he comes down. He kind of like goes like zoom and zooms in front of you, and uppercuts you in the balls as he
Yeah.
drives past. And
What
you
about
kind of
that
go like,
armored bulge?
it goes right through it, dude.
Oh
And
no.
and you kind of go like, oh, and like you go, oh my groin, and like you fall over, and you as he like blows past you and like starts slaughtering your men, you see that like the hair has like finally you see like one very fine, very thin, translucent hair. And for a second, you see that it's like perfectly equal with the start of his butt crack. And he is just like tearing everyone apart.
Great.
Within about so
Sucks.
you like fall over and you're like your balls hurt really bad, and then a bunch of like tanks come. They don't even shoot you. They just like run over you.
Yeah, they don't even bother shooting me first.
No, they have to conserve their armor against or their the ammo against the threats and stuff, I guess. So you just got like run over, and within about a week, the Rosy Realm has been completely destroyed. It's now
Great.
just like they said, just a realm of like fire and like incessant screeching, though no one knows where the sound's coming from.
Which fucking sucks.
The next person who dreams of the Rosy Realm is this guy named Tyler Flash. And through his dreams, they're actually able to invade the real world. So the the real world falls next.
Well, I'm long gone. The fucking Samson situation. That sucks. This whole thing sucked.
To return to the Rosy Realm.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I wonder what part three will be.
Fuck that.